I was sitting on a quiet park bench one autumn afternoon, the golden leaves swirling in the cool breeze, when I overheard a conversation between two young men walking nearby. One of them, head bowed and voice heavy with discouragement, said, "Life has been unfair to me. No matter what I try, nothing ever works out. I guess I'm just unlucky." The other, smiling gently, responded, "Maybe it isn't life, maybe it's the way you're thinking about it." That simple reply struck me deeply, because it carried a profound truth. Our minds shape our lives. Everything we experience, our happiness, our struggles, our successes, and our failures, flows from the way we think, the beliefs we hold, and the attitudes we nurture. This essay is not merely a collection of ideas. It is a journey woven with stories, reflections, and examples to show how the human mind has the power to transform life itself. If you walk with me through these pages, you will see how thoughts turn into actions, how beliefs carve our destiny, and how the inner world of the mind dictates the outer world we live in. Imagine, for a moment, that your mind is a vast garden. The soil is fertile, capable of growing anything: beautiful flowers, nourishing fruits, or invasive weeds. Every thought you entertain is like a seed dropped into that soil. Positive thoughts, such as courage, gratitude, and hope, sprout into strong, life-giving plants. Negative thoughts, fear, envy, and despair, grow like thorns, choking the good growth and making the garden hostile. Take the story of James, a young man raised in a modest neighborhood. From childhood, James believed in his ability to learn, grow, and rise above his circumstances. While his friends laughed at the idea of becoming more than factory workers like their parents, James envisioned himself as an engineer. He watered that vision with constant effort, reading books under dim streetlights, saving pennies for second-hand textbooks, and practicing mathematics when others played. Years later, James graduated as an engineer and built bridges that connected entire communities. His life was a living testimony to the fact that his mind, filled with positive seeds of determination and vision, had shaped his destiny. On the other hand, his childhood friend Aaron always complained that life was unfair. He believed he was destined for mediocrity. He, too, had the same soil, the same mind, but he allowed weeds of negativity to grow unchecked. While James became an engineer, Aaron remained bitter and stagnant, blaming circumstances that were, in truth, the same as his friends. The mind, like a garden, does not judge which seeds you plant. It simply grows what you give it. If you plant weeds, weeds will thrive. If you plant roses, roses will bloom. Life itself is neutral, like a river flowing endlessly. Some see it as a source of life, a chance to sail, explore, and discover. Others see it as a threat, a force that can drown them at any moment. The difference lies not in the river but in the lens through which it is seen. Consider the story of Helen Keller. Born in 1880, she lost both her sight and hearing before she turned 2. Imagine living in such darkness and silence, unable to communicate, unable to see the faces of your loved ones or hear their voices. Many would have surrendered to despair. But Helen's mind refused to see her condition as a cage. With the help of her teacher, Anne Sullivan, She shaped her inner world with courage and determination. She became the first deafblind person to earn a college degree, wrote books, and inspired millions around the world. Her body lacked two vital senses, yet her mind saw possibilities where others saw walls. Her story teaches us that life is not about what happens to us, but how our minds interpret what happens. Have you ever noticed how your thoughts subtly shape your day? You wake up feeling grateful, and suddenly the world seems brighter. The coffee tastes richer, people appear friendlier, and problems feel manageable. Wake up grumpy, and everything feels like an obstacle. Traffic is unbearable, colleagues are irritating, and even the weather feels unfair. This is not magic. It is psychology. The brain filters reality through a system known as the reticular activating system, RAS. It is like a spotlight, focusing on what we consider important. If you constantly think, "I'm unlucky," your brain highlights evidence to prove you right, missed opportunities, failures, disappointments. But if you think, "I can create opportunities," your brain searches for ways to make it true. You notice job openings, you spot connections, you grab small chances. Let me share a simple success story. Sarah, a university student, always struggled with low self-confidence. She often said, "I'm just not smart enough." Her grades reflected her belief, mediocre and uninspired. One day, after attending a motivational seminar, she decided to test a new idea. Instead of saying, "I can't," she began telling herself daily, "I am capable. I can learn." Slowly, her brain began to work differently. She stayed longer at the library, asked questions in class, and found herself remembering information better. Within a year, her grades soared, and she even won a scholarship. Did her intelligence change overnight? No. Her mindset did. And once her thoughts shifted, her life followed. If the mind is truly the architect of life, then we must train it like a muscle. Here are some powerful daily practices that anyone can adopt. Begin the day by telling yourself empowering truths. Stand before a mirror and say, "I am strong. I am capable. Today I will make progress." It may feel awkward at first, but words shape beliefs, and beliefs shape actions. Spend 5 minutes imagining your goals as already achieved. See yourself giving that presentation, holding that degree, shaking hands at your dream job. The brain often cannot distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences. This primes you for success. Each night, write down 3 things you are grateful for. Gratitude shifts focus from what is lacking to what is abundant, training the mind to see positivity. Spend 10 minutes in silence, observing your thoughts without judgment. Notice the negativity trying to sneak in, and gently redirect it. This builds awareness and control over your mental garden. Read books, listen to podcasts, engage with knowledge daily. Feeding the mind with uplifting ideas prevents weeds of ignorance and fear from taking root. These practices, simple yet powerful, reshape the mind step by step. History is filled with men and women who proved that the mind indeed shapes life. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the electric bulb. Had his mind been filled with despair, he would have quit long before success arrived. But he reframed every failure as another step closer to success. Mahatma Gandhi transformed India through the power of his thoughts. While many believed only violence could free the nation, Gandhi's mind held on to the vision of nonviolence. His belief inspired millions to adopt peaceful resistance, proving that a single mind could reshape the destiny of a nation. Oprah Winfrey, born into poverty and suffering abuse, could have believed that life was against her. Instead, she told herself that her voice mattered, her story mattered. Today she stands as one of the most influential women in the world, all because her mind chose hope over despair. These are not superhumans. They are ordinary people with extraordinary mindsets. Of course, the mind is not always a friend. Left untrained, it becomes a prison. Anxiety, doubt, fear, and negativity creep in. But even these shadows remind us of the mind's power. If it can shape misery, it can also shape joy. A man once said, "My life changed the day I stopped saying, 'Why me?' and started saying, 'Try me.'" That shift in words turned his struggles into stepping stones. It is the same for all of us. We cannot control every circumstance, but we can always control the thoughts we allow to live rent-free in our minds. As I return to that park bench in memory, I think again of the young men I overheard. One saw himself as unlucky, cursed by fate. The other hinted at the truth. Maybe it isn't life. Maybe it's the way you're thinking about it. If you remember nothing else from this essay, remember this: your mind shapes your life. Guard it. Train it. Feed it with courage, hope, gratitude, and vision. For in the end, the battles you fight are not outside but inside. The garden of your mind will bloom according to the seeds you plant. Sow wisely, and life itself will blossom.